Now, the road to self-actualization is often fraught with trials and errors. But then, there is need to do away with strategies that do not work for you and get onto the ones that will work for you. Now, to help us this morning talk about how to do away with faulty programs is Stephen Omojuyigbe, who is a certified life and relationship coach. It's great to have you, sir.
Nice to be here.
You are welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Now, this is something that I think everybody at almost every level, at almost every time, would need something like this. You know, they say when we keep doing the same things and expect different results, it's tantamount to madness as it is. But then, changing faulty programming and all of that. Let's. When do you need to know, or when should you know that this is the time I need to change what I'm doing?
That's an absolutely very good question. Look at your results. Look at the realities and the outcomes you're experiencing. So you want a good marriage, but instead of having a good marriage, you have a terrible marriage.
Okay.
You want to be successful, instead of being successful, you're going from failure to failure. Once the results and the outcomes you're getting in your life do not match up with the desires you have, then there is something inside of you that is repelling those good desires that you have. Because the way life was designed is that the things you want you. And so as you move towards success consciously, success should be moving towards you. As you move towards having a great marriage consciously, you should be seeing that outcome and experience and reality in your life.
Okay.
But once you're moving towards something consciously, and it seems like there's a barrier, it seems like you're close to getting it, something goes wrong. It seems that the more you work hard, the poorer you become. Then there is a program that does not support your desires. That's when you know that you need to change your program. That's when you know that there is a problem with your program.
Okay, now, but I know that persistence is one of the, keys to success, as it were. And a number of people I've spoken to, and even people at different times, they tell you that they tell you that at times you should stick to something for a while.
Yes.
But then you said that the point where you feel like at this point my action is not, the results are not concomitant with the corresponding action that I'm putting. That's the point where you move. You need to change. How do you change? How do you do that change?
Okay,
that programming change.
Yeah, before we get into how do you change, first people need to understand that the mindset, your programs are causative. That your life is a printout of your subconscious and conscious behavior.
Okay.
And that your programs determine your perceptions, they determine your performance, and then, of course, perception and performance, those determine your outcomes. It is science. It is not even something, it's not just motivational something.
Mental programming,
It is a scientific thing.
Are we talking about mental programming?
Yes, mental programs, that the things the fundamental assumptions that you have about the world, about life, about marriage, about success, about money. Take, for example, if you were to believe that there is scarcity, that there's no money in Nigeria, like a lot of people say, what happens is that your brain, your mind is designed to help you have congruence. So the things you believe and the outcomes you have, your mind is there to make sure that those two things tally. And so once you believe that there's no money in Nigeria, there's scarcity, what your mind begins to do is that it shuts down your ability to see opportunities, because it wants to make sure that your reality is
okay, but what if fact or news, what if fact tells you that there's actually lower money in circulation?
Yes.
Let's say you receive news from business indicators or people that are involved in the economy, and they actually say that as it stands that there is actually less money or no money in circulation. Are you trying to say that there's a way that with your mind you should rule out the facts? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying you should rule out the facts. So let's say the economy outlook is bleak. So all the reports, all that you're getting from the news is that things are bad. But in that same bad economy, you also will hear, maybe not many, one or two people who break through, who get a breakthrough idea, who become millionaires in that bad economy. Now the question is, do you want to hold on to the empowering reality that in spite of the fact that there is a lull in the economy, one person is breaking through, or do you want to hold on to the fact that the economy is bleak? It depends on your focus. So even when you have facts staring you in the face, you can choose what you believe. You can choose to say that even though the economy is bleak, as long as there's one person in this economy who can have a breakthrough, why can it not be me?
Why can it not be me?
And then when you begin to think like that, what happens is that your brain begins to scan the whole place. It begins to work overdrive to find you that one opportunity that can give you the reality you desire. So it's a question of what do you put your focus on. And so then let's come to how do you change a faulty program if you have one? First, how are faulty programs built? Programs in our minds are built by three major ways. Number one is hypnosis when we're children. before the age of 7, everything that we experience is downloaded. We don't learn it consciously. You just stay in an environment where Igbo is spoken, and then you just learn it. You stay in an environment where failure is celebrated.
Exactly.
So it's hypnotically, it just downloads into your mind. And then programs are also built by repetition. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you sing that song so many times until it gets stuck in your mind. You don't need to think about it anymore. It becomes automatic. And then programs are also built through significant emotional experiences. So a girl suffers rape, for example, and in that incident, in that situation, she begins to believe that all men are bad. So significant emotional experiences, things that we do repeatedly, and hypnosis. Those are the three ways programs are built. And those are also the 3 ways programs are changed. Okay.
So that means that should be okay. Oh, wonderful. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's also the 3 ways programs are changed. And hypnosis is when you're just about between that time when you fall into sleep and when you're still conscious, your brain is operating at a frequency that's called theta. At that time, it's a very good time to put something in your ear.
So this is self-hypnosis?
Yes, self-hypnosis, yeah. This is a time to put something in your ear and download a new program like, I'm healthy, I'm prosperous, I'm finding opportunities, I am strong. At that time, your brain has the capacity, you have the capacity to bypass your conscious brain and put those things in your consciousness, right?
This is just before you sleep?
Just before you sleep, just before you sleep, or just after you're waking up, just before full consciousness comes into place. That's why the things you do first thing in the morning so matters in your life. Because at that time, your mind is in that place where anything you do at that time registers strongly. And this is science, all right?
It is.
And then another way you can, of course, change your program is to practice something repeatedly. These things work. You know, sometimes people hear, they just say, oh, it's just motivation. But it's not just motivation.
You're right. Science. Repetition is the law of deep and lasting impression.
Absolutely. All right. So once you find that your outcomes are not commensurate with the things you want, you have to come into a place where you become self-aware. And that's the critical thing when it comes to repetition. You can't just find some affirmations and just begin to say it. You have to come to a place where you say, what exactly is the faulty programs? And if you process your story, which is something I help people do as a life coach, you process your story, you can identify those faulty programs. And what you need to do is just find the very opposite of it and put it all around you. Hear it every time, see it every time, until such a time where it sinks into your subconscious.
So when you're talking about the repetition now, are you talking about verbal repetitions or are you talking about actions?
Both of them. All of them, actually.
Okay.
You want to hear the new program. You want to hear it in tapes. You want to hear it in song. You want to hear it everywhere. You want to put it all around your house, on your fridge, on your mirror.
This is consciously affecting your environment in such a way that what it gives back to you, it's what you plan for it to give back to you.
Exactly. And once you're able to register that new program, it will take some time. And this is where your other question about persistence.
Yeah.
It does not mean that because, you've listened to Stephen on the show today, so you put 1 or 2 things in your
tomorrow
tomorrow you hammer. No, it doesn't work like that. Something that took 24 years, 25 years, you're 40 now, you're struggling, and you've been operating that program for 40 years. At least you want to give it 40 days for the new program to stick.
That is quite true. Even though I think that time is even still small, but you are right.
But at least you want to give it some time. Yeah, you want to give it some time.
Someone said that, you need about that 30, 40 days to kick in a new habit and all of that.
Exactly.
How about the third one? There's a third one you spoke about.
The third one is something you cannot control, which is a significant emotional experience.
Experience.
And some people call it a miracle. So I'm talking with this girl one day. I'm coaching her, and she's telling me all about all the pain and all the struggle she's gotten, and I can't get through to her. There's no breakthrough, and then suddenly it occurs to me to give her back what she paid for the coaching, and in that moment she breaks down and she's crying, and we have a breakthrough. And I asked her, what happened to you? She said, this is the first time anybody will give me money for doing nothing. And
I wish we could continue, but I know we will continue. We have you over the whole month.
Yeah.
I am so interested in this. We'll kick off on this note. We have the third one. Before we go to our next topic, we'll round up with this one because we have to go now.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you, Mike, for having me.
I'm looking forward to this whole month of you on the show.